everything here suggests to me that hold on to your hats, don't fuck this up, don't lose control of your tokens, don't use leverage, don't get your wallet hacked, just sit with it, be careful, don't get FOMO, do all of the right things, and we'll go up to the next phase of correction zone. That's going to be harder, because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, is it over? And you'll definitely be sure it's over, and everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over. By our work, we suggest that because of the elongation of the business cycle, because rates were higher for longer, the forward-looking liquidity suggests that, again, probabilistically speaking, without any guarantees, this whole thing goes into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026, which would align with Trump's, trying to win the midterms as well.
The signs are all around us. Although the prevailing sentiment is one of fear, beneath the surface, market mechanisms are quietly preparing for a historic surge. By 2025, Bitcoin is positioned on the brink of what insiders are referring to as the banana zone, a phase characterized by explosive upward momentum. With liquidity returning and the debt cycle repeating, as it always does, everything is in place. Let's explore why this moment could be monumental.
And hey presto, the dollar has utterly collapsed. And we haven't started yet. And it's a cyclical thing. It's not the end of the dollar. That's another narrative you read. There can't be the end of the dollar right now, because 87% of world trade is in dollars and 50% of the entire world's debt are in dollars. So that's 200% of global GDP is actually in dollars. So there's a shortage of dollars globally, and that won't go away for a long time. So the dollar's collapsing. This kind of thing is a massive tailwind. As the dollar weakens, it means that the more global exports pick up. Everybody who's a foreigner who services US government debt, it's cheaper to service the debt, costs them less of their domestic currency cash flows. So it's a very powerful setup. A weak dollar is incredibly good for world growth. It allows China, everybody else to start exporting. The whole world economy starts picking up.
As the dollar weakens, global growth accelerates. This shift has always fueled rallies in risk assets, and Bitcoin thrives under these conditions. The pattern is not random. Global liquidity flows, driven by weakening currency values, feed into the crypto market. Every time this happens, Bitcoin responds in kind, breaking through old limits.
So what we're seeing is global M2 at all-time highs. That should mean all-time highs for asset prices. That's how the world works.
Global M2 is surging, a sign of abundant liquidity. Historically, these peaks precede massive gains in Bitcoin. Each liquidity expansion cycle has followed the same rhythm: breakout, retest, and explosive growth. This time is no different, except for the scale. Bitcoin and other assets are poised for unprecedented moves.
So it's not just the weaker dollar itself, it's not just the banking system, but it's the central banks starting to pump liquidity into the system as well, because they've all got to roll the debt. And that's why it is so cyclical. Every time the total global liquidity index breaks out, again, the same thing with M2, the market goes higher.
The engines are revving on all fronts. Not only is the banking sector absorbing debts, but central banks are injecting liquidity directly. This global coordination magnifies the market's upward momentum. When liquidity flows freely, Bitcoin has historically been one of the greatest beneficiaries.
So at this point is when Bitcoin super accelerates. And that point lies ahead. We're about to see that point now.
Bitcoin's next gear shift is imminent. Historically, as the economy recovers and ISM indicators cross the critical threshold of 50, Bitcoin ignites. That moment is on the horizon. When it hits, it won't just be another rally. It will be the start of the next explosive phase.
But the problem is nobody believes me.
That's true.
Everyone's like, no, but the markets and Trump and tariffs and geopolitics and China and then Russia and that's all and what you've all done is price in maximum fucking fear.
Fear grips the market. but it is precisely this skepticism that often fuels the strongest rallies. Historical data shows us that moments of doubt precede the most ferocious surges. Bitcoin feeds on disbelief, rising sharply as narratives shift from fear to FOMO.
Everything in the entire ecosystem is broken out. All of crypto is breaking out. Because of the energy and what's going on here, we happen to be the fastest horse right now. Is that a guarantee? No, it's not. But, I just follow the money. I follow the liquidity flows. I follow the charts.
Momentum has swept across the entire crypto landscape. Breakouts are happening everywhere, and Bitcoin remains the leader. Still, there are no guarantees. The market rewards those who align themselves with liquidity and trend analysis, not speculation or blind optimism.
So the banana zone comes in phases. I'll show you that in a sec. But basically, in that correction, using a simple measure, RSI, we got to hilariously oversold. What normally happens afterwards, period of sideways consolidation, break higher.
The correction zone is part of the natural order. Bitcoin tends to consolidate after sharp moves before it resumes its ascent. The so-called banana zone isn't instant. It's a process with ups and downs that tests even the most seasoned investors.
It's not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle. They are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing each cycle. It's not to do with a halving cycle, nothing to do with any of that. It's all driven by liquidity cycle and funding of debts.
At its core, this cycle is no accident. It is not about block rewards or minor halvings. The real driving force is global liquidity and the relentless requirement to refinance debt. This reality is what underpins Bitcoin's expected trajectory as it feeds into speculative demand and broad market enthusiasm. As we reflect on all the evidence laid out, it becomes increasingly difficult to ignore what is happening. Global M2 is surging to historic levels. Central banks are printing and injecting liquidity at a furious pace. The dollar's collapse has made risk assets more attractive. Meanwhile, market participants remain fearful and skeptical, which historically has been the perfect setup for dramatic price appreciation. Bitcoin has already weathered corrections and faced down doubt. The charts, cycles, and liquidity patterns all point to one conclusion. The banana zone is not coming. It is here. Yet as the market begins its powerful ascent, many will stay on the sidelines, paralyzed by memories of past pain or distracted by global uncertainty. What separates winners from watchers in times like these is conviction rooted in data, not emotion. All indicators, from ISM to global liquidity and market psychology, suggest that Bitcoin and crypto are gearing up for something big.
So everything's lined up for us. I think it started. So keep the faith, keep building stuff, and let's keep driving Siri forward with all of this.
So what do you think? Is Bitcoin destined to enter its most explosive bull run yet? Or will this cycle be different? Share your thoughts in the comments below.